On the third day of Tradmas, the internet gave to us lies. Hello, and welcome to the 12 Days of Tradmas. If you're new around here, my name is Kit, and Tradmas is a series I do in December where I talk about the harmful beliefs and ideas promoted by certain influencers, content creators, and so on. Basically, my normal content, but more of it, and with a festive flair. And today, we're discussing lies. Specifically, lies millennial women were told. In October, Suzanne Venker, author and relationship coach, you might remember her for her dating advice from Monday's video, sat down with Turning Point employee Alex Clark to discuss lies millennial women were told. And as a millennial woman, well, of course I was interested. Now, Alex Clark hasn't featured much on my channel, though I did do a video on her interview with Bernadine Bluntly about biblical patriarchy versus red pill for Tradmas 2023. So in a brief summary, she hosted Poplitics and The Spillover, created the cute-servative movement, and she now hosts Culture Apothecary, which, per the YouTube bio, focuses on healing a sick culture physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'm just saying, one of the video titles is telling women to avoid mammograms. And her Make America Healthy Again tote bag includes images of raw milk, a ribbon, a dropper, flowers, butter, a Bible, wedding rings, steak, honey, prayer hands, a light bulb, and a bottle, I guess to resemble the apothecaries of old. I kind of figured this would be her idea of healing, even though Alex herself isn't married, nor does she have kids, and she also doesn't seem especially religious. However, this is the way to grift. Speaking of which, let's talk about those lies. And I just want to say that though the title is Lies Millennial Women Were Fed per Suzanne, it's actually about raising children counterculturally, though her children are in their 20s and Alex doesn't have any. But anyway, Alex's passion is health and wellness, and TLDR, she began researching to see if the FDA had ever claimed a drug was safe, and then it was found it wasn't, which led her to...
And then I thought, well, is there any other pills? And then that's when I came across the hormonal birth control pill, that has been so overly prescribed to women without true informed consent. To really walk us through in these appointments, do you understand that your rates of anxiety, depression can go up 80%? Do you understand that you're going to be attracted to a different type of mate on versus off the pill? Do you understand that, suicidal thoughts could increase, that you're likely to be prescribed an antidepressant based on the symptoms that you're getting on this? Like, there was just all these things that no one ever told us when we were prescribed at 13, 14, 15.
Now, do I think doctors are too eager to prescribe things that will cover the symptoms and not get at the cause? Yes. But if you're going to discuss this, you have to discuss it seriously. And conservatives have taken the side effects and run with them as if all medication doesn't have side effects and as if they're a foregone conclusion. If you get on the pill or some other form of birth control and experience side effects, please talk with your doctor. Please don't take the word of an influencer. And again, science has not concluded that you'll be attracted to different people on birth control than when off. That's so dishonest.
All of the so-called food in a grocery store today in America is not actually food.
She doesn't explain this, but she does say that McDonald's fries are basically soaked in formaldehyde, which... source? I do agree that it's shameful the amount of things allowed in the US versus, for example, the UK. Clearly, companies can use better ingredients, they just don't bother when they don't have to. And I suspect Alex and friends will be shocked when Trump enters the White House and, as it turns out, deregulation of the food industry doesn't actually mean better, safer ingredients. They will use whatever is legally cheapest, and when there's no laws against what they can use, I'm really baffled by how these folks don't understand that.
I mean, again, going back to millennials growing up, so we were told have as much, unattached sex as you want.
It's funny. Ever since I can remember, I've been reading about how people are hooking up and the side effects of that, and it's just terrible, but I've never seen anything actually encouraging it. Strange.
That we have got to pursue this girl boss lifestyle. That was a huge term for my generation. Everything was girl boss. It was all over merch, clothing, cups, like girl boss was everywhere. That was a massive thing.
Welcome to capitalism.
It was very looked down upon to skip college for boys and girls. But our generation, it was like, you will not be successful if you don't go to college.
The pressure to go to college was intense, but still, If you have a college degree, you are more likely to be employed and to make more money.
And marriage and kids, that can wait. You have all the time in the world, especially now that we have all these amazing fertility advancements. You'll always be able to get pregnant whenever you want.
No, the pressure to marry and have kids was still very much a thing. It's only tradcons and conservative influencers that pretend marriage and kids can't or won't go hand in hand with paid employment. Anyway, Alex concludes that these were all lies, and I would very much like some sources as to where she heard them. She's not that much younger than me, so theoretically, we should have received the same messaging, and yet the messaging I've heard about these things is conservatives telling me society is telling me these things. Anyway, let's talk about capitalism.
Follow this food pyramid. We're not going to tell you that we have decided different portions should be different sizes because that industry paid us to tell you to eat more of this food group, even though it's really bad for you. We're not going to tell you that, but you should eat this to be healthy. We have followed their direction now for 50 years or so, a little over 50 years. And we have never been worse off. We've never been less happy. We're absolutely miserable. We're burnt out.
I agree. We should get money out of politics. We should work less for more pay. We should have public childcare and healthcare. That's where she's going, right?
And you're seeing all of these Gen Zers now pop up on TikTok being like, okay, I'm watching how the millennial women are faring and they hate their lives. And I just graduated college and I'm trying to do this like 9 to 5 workplace thing. I have no time to breathe. I have no time to make friends. I have no time to date. I have no time to like even eat a healthy meal. I have to run through the drive-through because of the hours that I'm working. Like, this is life. This is horrible. This sucks. And their eyes are being open. They're like, I don't want what they had. So the idea behind that reel was, which way, Western woman? Here's the direction you were given. Let's step back even further. Let's look at a wider picture of how we used to live historically. Which generation of women seem to be happier to you?
For context, Alex posted a Which Way Western Woman reel, and your choice is between fast food, casual sex, and career, and marriage, kids, and possibly farming. Conservatives really prefer binaries. Unfortunately, life isn't so simple as either or, and I feel pretty safe saying that most people wouldn't prefer either option as presented by Alex. They also like to go by appearances, as evidenced by her question. Which generation of women looked happier to you? How are we supposed to judge that when we didn't study happiness back then and we weren't there? We actually don't know, and we can't know, and that's okay. We don't have to know everything, but we shouldn't use that as an excuse to say that how we live in the 21st century is wrong. Anyway, Suzanne goes on to say we were healthier in the past. Citation needed. And Alex uses that as a segue to,
I think today's idea of like what will make women happy, they need to be always out of the house. You're only going to find a sense of purpose out of the house versus, you know, everybody wants to bring up the 50s and, women were miserable. They were so bored to death. I'm like, I don't think that was right either. They were bored to death. And that's why, you had all these women taking mother's little helpers and all of that kind of stuff. And then you had the sexual revolution where they're like, okay, actually, we all need to work. We all need to this because women were told, stay home and dust all day. And you have TV dinner meals, all these department stores. You don't have to go out and you don't have to find clothes, make clothes for your family. You don't have to go you don't have to grow your own food anymore. Like, basically, women lost all of their sense of purpose. Then we told them their purpose was out of the house. I think it's fine. I think it's okay to admit both of these ideas were wrong. Exactly. I think that it's got to be a little bit of both. I think your family, your home, like you always talk about, needs to be the priority. And then having different ventures or philanthropy or whatever you're involved in, as long as your home is the main focus, is completely fine. But yeah, women, we want to feel like we matter and like what we're doing matters to the, betterment of our family, having things to take care of and do and responsibilities and things like that. So I don't think the 50s or 2024 have been the right answer for women.
I agree. Neither the 1950s nor the unfettered capitalism we're living under now are the best for women or general human flourishing. And this confuses me a little. There are, of course, workaholics, but does she really think that most women who have multiple jobs or who have to work overtime do it because society told her she has to? These folks love to create straw men, but they never flesh them out fully. Anyway, I hope you are all ready for Suzanne to be politically incorrect.
It's politically incorrect to say, but the reality is that making America healthy again is not going to happen with mothers being absent from the home.
I'm not all that surprised to hear this. In her interview with Lila Rose, Suzanne was adamant that women stay home with the kids, not fathers. Fathers are for money. But I am curious about how she explains this.
Because who was responsible for teaching a newborn to age 18 how to eat, how to sleep, how to be healthy? It requires somebody being in the kitchen to do that natural work that you're arguing for. And so I don't see how to have this conversation without that being a component of it.
She says someone, but I really don't think Suzanne will be open to a man being the one to teach a kid from newborn to 18 how to live. But okay, if Suzanne thinks it's so important for someone to be home with the kid or kids, how does she propose that happen? She doesn't think women should work until kids are in school, and even then only part-time, so how does she propose that families fund themselves during that time period? Well, she told us in her Lila Rose interview. The father takes as many jobs as he has to enable the mother to stay home, which seems odd since I'm sure Suzanne also believes children need a strong male role model in the home, but how can a father who's always away working be that? Well, I suppose the fact that he was always away working would be held up as a masculine role model, but I would be willing to bet that most people would prefer their husband and father to be home. Some people actually like their spouses and families and want to spend time with them, weirdly enough. Anyway, Suzanne asks if she's wrong. Alex unsurprisingly says no, even though I don't see these tradcons quitting their social media gigs when they have kids. And then she engages in some mom shaming, which is, what is she doing in mom groups when she doesn't have kids? That's strange. But hey, at least she acknowledges she's not speaking from experience. She's just speaking facts, and no.
We know that certain foods cause behavior problems.
True, though it is odd she would assume she knows more about a kid than that kid's parent.
We know that daycare causes attachment issues.
No. And also, parents are still parents even when daycare is used.
Put that together, what are you going to get? And then you have these parents that are like, what's wrong with my kid? I don't know. It's just common sense, a lot of this to me. I don't need, some of this you don't have to experience to be like, okay, this is obviously right or a better way, and this isn't.
I know.
Sorry.
Alex talks a big game for someone who's never been a parent. Anyway, Suzanne says there's 2 issues to convince people of to fix this. The first being not caring about what other people are thinking and doing and just doing what you know is right and best. And I'm a bit concerned about this idea that, well, parents always know best and there's no need for outside counsel or to reconsider things. Mother and father are always right. The second thing is the money going out the door for the lifestyle Alex is talking about and how it's actually a gain to the wallet to live this other way. And maybe, but I think she's underestimating the importance of that second paycheck. And of course, she talks about how she maths it out for her coaching clients, but someone who has hundreds to spend on coaching is probably in a more stable financial state than someone who doesn't. Her advice, such as it is, only works for a select group. Anyway, they talk about the commitment crisis and the evils of big fertility, and we end up here.
If we are wanting women to be more feminine and really lean into their softness and our natural femininity and nurturing nature, then we have to put more pressure on men to be more masculine. When a man is in his fullest masculine state, women are going to fall in line. Women are going to want to submit to you as a leader. Women crave that. We crave that type of guy in our life. And so the problem is that we have allowed women to take on that more masculine role that's made men more passive. They're lazier, and there's no pressure on them to really lean into their masculine. So we need to, if we can help men achieve that role easier, then we will start seeing women fall in line.
It's so weird to me when they talk about this stuff in general, but especially when they talk about women naturally being softer. But apparently, the instant a woman shows a sense of agency, men just wilt? And women have to help them be leaders so women can submit and fall in line? If that's what Alex is looking for, that's her business, but please don't speak for the rest of us. And on that note,
Suzanne, women think it is the sexiest thing ever when we can turn our brain off. If you allow a woman if you are a guy and you're around a girl and you're like, I got this, babe, I'm going to make this decision. I know where we're going to go eat. I know what we're doing today. You need to be here at this time. You need to wear this. I have everything under control. We're like, oh my gosh, like that is the biggest turn on to a woman, is like, oh, I can turn my brain off around you. I don't have to run around doing everything, making all the decisions. We love that. That is so hot to women.
Again, please don't speak for the rest of us. And this is concerning. We heard the same thing from Girls Gone Bible about how women really just want men to make all the decisions so they can turn their brain off. And I can only imagine what sort of effect that has on young women and girls who are watching this. It is fine and normal to think. It is fine and normal to want to think. That doesn't mean you're unfeminine or that a guy will never like you. Actually, if a man wants a woman to turn off her brain, that's a red flag. And these two don't live in reality.
If you create an atmosphere like that for a girl, like, we're going to do anything you say.
That's right. No, there's just no question about it.
These two are setting everyone up for failure. They're teaching boys that if they're strong, decisive men, they'll get a sweet, docile woman. And if girls are sweet and docile, they'll get a strong, decisive man who cherishes them, of course. That is not the way the world works, or the way people work, for that matter. There is no reward for following gender stereotypes, and another person should never be looked at as a reward. And that's that. You start at wellness, and this is where you end up. Anyone else feeling disappointed and a bit creeped out by the push to convince women that thinking really isn't for them? And that's it for the third day of Tradmas. Thank you so much for watching, and I would like to give extra thanks to my patrons. My socials and Patreon are linked below, along with sources and resources, and I'll see you in the next video.